Space, the final frontier. Well, okay, not really. All right, take two. Here in the Mitten State, welcome to Code 47, bringing you all things Star Trek, spanning the quadrants, the best thing since the neutral zone.
My friends, we are back again. It is episode, oh God, I got this wrong on here. Episode 85 of the Code 47 podcast over on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Find our podcasts wherever you find podcasts, but most importantly, if you're over there on Apple or Spotify or what have you, subscribe to our network feed. That's really where it's at, because you do get all four of our programs. You get this great show talking all about Star Trek. You get the co-op mode, all about video games. Holocron Chronicles is all about Star Wars. And then, of course, every single Friday since 2014, you get your original Guide to the Geek Side. That would be the Secret Friends Unite podcast program. Welcome to our show. I am Charlie Carden, Fleet Captain. We are all in uniform today because you are potentially listening to this when it drops on Halloween, October 31st, which is tomorrow as we're recording this. But I am Trek Lord of West Michigan, your humble servant, Fleet Captain of the USS Grand Petoskey, Charlie Carden. I am joined, as always, by my stalwart shipmates here in this shuttle pod of doom. That would be...
Wait, what?
Oh, didn't I tell you?
That's Shuttle Pod 1. What's going on here?
Oh, boy. That would be...
I did not sign up for a suicide mission. Thank you.
Boy. Well, you should have read the Ferengi print. Okay, anyway, we've got Katie Quinn on microphone number 1. Katie, how are you?
Hello, I am good. I am on a new fancy microphone thanks to the Fleet Captain.
Yes.
So I am probably sounding a lot smoother and nicer than I ever have before. So thank you.
I like it. And wearing that beautiful Operations Division dress uniform, that would be Lieutenant Junior Grade Peter Stein, our Chief Engineer. How are you, my friend?
Better now that my network has not crashed.
Isn't that an irony? Because that's what you do for a living. You work on network stuff, and then you get bit by the bug. Oh, my goodness. Well, we have a ton to talk about this week. We have an ending and a beginning. We actually have 3 new shows to talk about. And then Katie and I are going to dig into Star Trek Voyager, a particular segment of which she has lots of notes. So
I may have warned Charlie, and so I guess I should just, warn all of you that I will be going on rants about particular episodes. And if any of you have listened before, you probably know which episode I'm going to go on a rant about.
It's not going to be subtle, nor should it be. But that's okay. Let's kick it off. We're getting into the final 2 episodes of Lower Decks for season 3. The first of which I'm going to toss this to, and again, guys, I put a long summary in here. I don't want you to read it. I put it in there for notes because I'm like, what was the name of such and such? Oh, But anyway, Katie, why don't you take on episode 9?
Of course, we had a Lower Decks episode 9, Trusted Sources, and this was basically Captain Freeman decides to try to do a swing-by project, or Project Swing-By, where they are initiating kind of a follow-up second contact. It does not go as planned. How about that for a little elevator pitch?
Not go that, you know what? It has the essence of beautiful sitcomery. It does not go as planned on this very special episode. Katie, your thought. I'm gonna wind myself up to go last. This one is yours.
I really, really liked it. It felt like it stayed very true. Kind of felt like a lot of the ending of season 2, where stakes got a little bit stronger, got a little bit higher. Characters were very much acting the way they did, but you also saw a real culmination of the growth of Mariner in particular, with how she was acting, how she was interacting with the rest of the crew, and how she really felt about Starfleet, and really how she hadn't been trusted in a lot of it, and how a lot of the reasoning she had for not feeling like part of the crew was very, very valid.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the perpetual screw up. So, Peter, how about you?
I quite liked this episode. As we all know, I really like when we do callbacks to things that we only see once. It's entertaining to touch it again. So dealing with the crack addicts from one of my least favorite episodes.
I was laughing so hard because I was like, oh, wait. I'm like, no, this is the one where Riker went.
Yeah.
Because that's the only part of the episode that I
Kirk's
remember.
son freezes Riker.
Yeah, exactly. It was Kirk's son, and then it was Khan's lieutenant played the guy on the other side.
Yeah.
So
I quite
Yeah.
liked how like they had the Onarans, like they had turned themselves around, but they turned themselves around in a not terribly healthy way either.
Right, workout
Right.
freaks, exactly.
Fitness nuts. It's like,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Like
here's a mural of the Enterprise flying away, and here's a mural of when we kind of lost our minds going through withdrawal. And it was like,
Yep.
"Arrgh!"
It was very beautifully artistically rendered, though.
Right?
I gotta say,
it's amazing that somebody going through withdrawals could, paint like that, but maybe it happened a good deal of time afterwards.
Maybe happened afterwards, yeah. But like, I enjoyed that they did that. I also liked how they brought back the Breen.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we haven't seen the Breen since DS9. Great,
and also just like the whole like I have to say again, the way that they render these starships is just fantastic.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
They had a beauty pass right at the beginning that was very evocative of Voyager's kind of pass through, where you see that they're at warp speed, but you can tell there's a star in the far distance. So you watch the shadow on the underside of the ship go from one side to another. I mean, and again, rendered in animation, you're like, wow.
So I have to ask, have any of you noticed the koala in the intro?
No,
I have been skipping the intro because I've been watching with you.
Yeah, no. When they go through and it does the like kind of noise with where they're making the Star Trek swoop, in the intro there is the koala. It's made out of the nebula. I paused it because
I did notice there was a face. I just didn't like sit there and go like, "What is this?"
Yeah, no, I rewound it because I noticed that a couple episodes ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, I think that's a koala." Now I just want to watch the rest of like Discovery and
Look for the koala.
Yeah, and like the newer seasons where they do that. And I want to see if the koala's there.
Could this be the modern Trek's Age's answer to the number 47, a koala? Like
possibly
a koala and everything. Oh my god! This might have to be a little research project that you kind of circle back with us. So anyway, I love this too. I come to find out that the Admiral Buenamigo, who we come to find out is the falls into a certain admiral trend, which I don't want to give away because we kind of find out about it in the next episode, is actually he's voiced by Carlos Iwasaki, who is the father of Rock over on Prodigy, the young girl who voices Rock, this father and son. Had no idea. And I like him. He was in a show called Reno 911 back in the early 2000s. If you ever watched Comedy Central. Yeah, he was the
That's where I know him from. Okay.
Yeah. and he's the Taco Bell dog, Yokiro Taco Bell.
I did not know that.
That's probably why I recognize the voice.
See? Yeah, exactly. So,
and you do get at the end, you kind of get a vibe for what's happening because, they meet the Breen, the Cerritos does, and they're getting their asses kicked. So this new Texas class automated ship comes in and kind of saves the day. And it's this secret project that he's been working on.
When they first did it, I was like, is this Section 31 showing up? Because I don't recognize this.
I wondered.
And then it was like, oh, it's automated. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, props to you for not going back to the old Section 31 trend because I'm a little over it.
I mean, we did have that. We did have that spoof with Boimler.
I thoroughly appreciated that one.
Yes. And so, if Section 31 shows up with William, I will be totally on board with that. I think that would be a great way to introduce them.
I like it.
But it has to be with him.
Oh, absolutely.
I just don't want to have another
Well, yeah, I mean,
this Admiral Marcus sort of deal,
exactly. Another lousy admiral. So I love that we finally got the culmination of the dreaded Starbase 80. That you have these guys. These guys,
Starbase 80.
Yeah, they're essentially wearing like rumpled, like dirty suits, and they have the old TNG comm badges, which I thought was funny. And when he has to see when Freeman calls at the end to find out because. It's assumed that Mariner is the one that torpedoed the ship in the interview, and that's why they end up looking so terrible in the news from this news reporter who is voiced by, I had to look this up, the person voicing the reporter, if you followed Parks and Rec, was the one reporter on Parks and Rec, Shanna Mulway Tweep, if you watch that. I had to look it up because I'm like, this is...
Okay, again, why she sounded familiar.
Yeah, exactly. So, ends up on Starbase. So he calls, says, well, I called to talk to Beckett Mariner, and he's like, wait a minute, he's got old school Rolodex looking through. So it's just
they also had like the minivan version of the smart car of shuttle pods.
Oh, how funny!
Yes,
oh my
I thought She reminded me very much, especially with like her little automated camera thing of The Expanse, the reporter on The Expanse.
Oh yeah,
who was sneaking around.
She reminded me of her and of Allers from Mass Effect. So there's a little bit of both.
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
I guess reporters in the future just
right over my head. But yes, it's traveling basically with the droid, like in Star Wars. So, so anyway, yes, we do find out at the end of the episode that she's now run off, which we all were pretty sure was going to happen, and she's hanging out with the basically Star Trek's answer to Dr. Aphra, Petra, Aberdeen, and they're running around doing archaeology.
It's Indiana Jones in space.
Yes,
exactly correct. Which we get some nice satisfaction of in the season finale. Peter, episode 10 is yours.
All right, it's episode 10, The Stars at Night. In the fallout from the previous episode with the Texas class, the California class could potentially be all mothballed. And so they set up a race to try to deal with that. And we also see a bunch of mess from that.
And more mess.
And there's more mess. So much mess.
And Mariner has a character arc completion.
Exactly.
Yes.
I will say that this episode, did you guys watch it a second time and watch the Easter egg, which I didn't know was there until
one at the end?
Yes.
It's also something that I was completely expecting when they brought up stuff about what the Texas class is.
Right, exactly.
But I like when they had the peanut hamper episode and they showed the implant, I was like, okay, there's going to be payoff.
Right. You're right. We had two great character arc completions because you finally got to see Rutherford's acceptance of his. Well, it's evil and it's bad tech, but it's so cool.
Yeah, but there's so many sub menus I'm still discovering.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we do find out that Buen Amigo is a badmiral. He's a bad dude. He comes right out and says, man, once you make admiral, you're plateaued. You're not really getting noticed anymore. People, don't really care about what you do. So I had to come up with this Texas class AI. And yeah, it's evil, but so what? Well, in the long tradition of the kill all humans and the robots, the Cylons, and Bender from Futurama, the Texas class turns bad. And it mostly blows up.
In a very creative way. Like it did have a very organic through line because of Rutherford's, which I had said that I didn't really love, like how much exposition heavy his episode was, but it did feel like it had a really great through line with it being the AI that he had developed, which was evil, that he had then, spoilers, based Badgie off of. So it was very emotionally unstable AI with the daddy issues.
Oh my goodness, Badgie! I know, it's the worst.
So Badgie returns, but, with
see the evil trifecta in the next season, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Oh, I know, but it's going to be great.
It'd be fantastic.
No doubt about it. Now, it took a whole season, but we do have back the T'Lyn, the Vulcan, the overly emotional Vulcan that we saw in the Wee Doc episode at the end of last season. And this brings back a character, a costuming note, which I was very enthusiastic about. Now, I told you guys that for Grand Rapids Comic-Con, I did have Donovan, who's the guy who built our chair, I commissioned him to build all the Voyager rank badges, the provisional officers badges. She's wearing one. And we actually also end up seeing one in the first episode, in our next segment, which is talking about Prodigy. Yeah, so that's fun. I'm going to use those provisional badges. I might sprinkle those around on some of the uniforms we have on the mannequins.
I was very, very excited to see her come in.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. So
since they said she was getting reassigned.
I have been waiting. I can't believe I had to wait an entire season though to see her.
It took a long time, but it's fun because she's going to be all Vulcan-y, and then Tendy's going to be all Tendy-like, and the two of them they're going to be the odd couple.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. Other thoughts about the episode?
I say we have to talk about how Shax had his dream come true of being able to eject the warp core, because that might be my favorite scene in the entire series so far, of people like clapping as he's crying and walking through.
He's so sensitive. I love his character.
And that's the thing, is there's this beautiful payoff because he's the big bear, and at the beginning of the episode, Boimler does a pretty spot-on impression of him. I talk about the prophets more than Ferengi. That was a great line.
I was talking so fast, I think I missed that. Of course, I notice when he's imitating, probably my favorite character on the show of the senior staff, which is of course Dr. Tana. All the bleeps. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's just, I think Boimler's kind of lost it since Mariner left. And of course, in talking about Mariner, we got her doing the temple robbing, which was a clip that we saw back in April when we got the all the first images in the first trailer of the little Klingon,
literally Klingon. Indiana Jones.
The
first bit of Indiana Jones.
It's a Chechapoyan idol from Indiana Jones, of which I have with my cosplay. That's why I decided I'm going to put on tomorrow is my Indiana Jones, because I have a new jacket I've not worn with that cosplay. So looking forward to that. But that was fun. And what I like about Mariner's character arc is that they actually ended it with being like, oh, she's going to be gone for most of half of the rest of the season doing this and that. No, this was like, it was an episode, and then it was a teaser at the end of the prior one. Yep. And they wrapped it up, and it was good. Plus, you got to find out that Petra wasn't really a bad egg, because she was
working for Picard.
She was actually doing a job. So yeah. But again, it's funny because Petra says to Mariner at one point, "Oh, it's funny that you think how money works, but then you think that this is an endowment from Picard. What's the endowment? Bottles of wine, like a whole shipment of wine.
And if he sells wine to the Ferengi, he has latinum. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, he might not necessarily just sell it to Earth or the Federation."
Right, exactly.
And I will say that, because I had initially, this was all stuff that we had kind of predicted happening. And I will say, because I had said that I would have been really bummed if they kind of did this kind of one and done with Mariner as far as the episode goes, of her leaving and then coming back. But the way that they did it really felt complete, and it didn't feel rushed. So even though it was kind of a one and done deal, I wasn't upset with it coming in the way that it did.
Yeah. Good. I also have to say about the warp core thing, just because that was also one of my favorite
beautiful
parts. I love how there was the double keys to do it. But the one thing that I really, really liked was the fact that we, saw it happen. Yeah. Because we haven't seen a warp core ejection used tactically ever.
In Voyager,
they did it, but it wasn't tactical.
And in Insurrection, they skipped it too. Even though
they did it, but it wasn't. But you didn't see it in the same way. You saw it blow up.
Yeah.
But so you're seeing it come out of the ship, tumble, and then detonate and destroy everyone. Which at least the nerds of us who read warp core schematics are like, yes. Also, the Cerritos dropped out of warp like it's supposed to.
Yeah, and it fell and it was going
spin out of a wormhole they did it into darkness. Right. So it's just okay, you did that and you did it right. Yes.
But also let's talk about the emotional payoff that came with that, because the ship comes back. What was it called? The
Alito.
The Alito, the Alito comes and is just wailing on the Cerritos. So you're like, okay. And another ship pops in and you're like, okay, this is where the Titan's going to come, even though they already said Titan's across from the galaxy. They're not getting any help there. And it was every single California class ship that came in to save their ass.
And rattling off all the California town names that make them up. So the Sherman Oaks was the one that made April go, Sherman Oaks? That's kind of a ship. That was awesome. All right, so in wrapping up, one prediction for season 4, which obviously we'll see in August of next year.
Yeah. My prediction for season 4, we're going to get the evil trifecta of Peanut Hamper, Badgie, and Agamus. Yeah, we're going to get all 3 of those guys in the next season doing some batshit crazy something.
Like together?
Yes.
Oh.
I think it might be that they're antagonizing the entire time, and then at the end, the climax is going to be them coming together for something.
Yeah. But at some point, all 3 of them are going to be working.
Yeah. And I think you're going to start seeing Mariner ranking up, or working with ranking up, and then kind of the struggles with her friendship and how that manages with maybe her and Boimler becoming a little bit more competitive and getting a strain there.
Right. Oh, gotcha.
That would be a nice character development bit.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe it. Cool. Oh, awesome. I love, like I said, and I've said consistently throughout this, Lower Deck Season 3 has been, for me, a highlight of the series. I think that I can't tell you that there was an episode this season that I was like, meh, because I found each one of them to be pretty redemptive. So.
It's one of those shows where I'm like, okay, they're going to have a bad season at some point, but really each season has been consistently better than the last.
Growing on. I know. I love it. Well, cool. All right. Well, let's move on. And I'll take this one on since there's 3 episodes and 3 of us. This is episode 11 of season 1 of Star Trek Prodigy, which left us back in February. I had to look it up. I'm like, I wonder the last time this was on. This episode is called Asylum. So our gang, weeks after the big shootout escape from Paz Lamora, they have done some missions along the way, but they're working their way towards the boundary of Federation space. And you have to remember that the Protostar itself is essentially a transwarp vessel, as I recall. So moving across, and that's also established in some dialogue in a holodeck recording that we see later on in the episode, is that it can make the journey between the Delta Quadrant. I don't know. Here, let's see. To the map. There you go. Watch my finger. To the Alpha Quadrant. Anyway. So that is what our folks did. And so they do finally reach a very distant comm station that has a single officer, a Denobulan. I had to look that up because even looking at the animation, I didn't really.
I knew it was Denobulan right away.
Of course you did. And a Denobulan, Katie, just so you know, because you're not a fan of the show, that was the doctor on Enterprise who was non-Starfleet. He was a Denobulan, Dr. Phlox. They, in all this way, Gwen's kind of struggling with getting peaks of her memory back. She's seeing the diviner, her father, saying, "It's your." What is he saying? You're the weapon. It's the weapon. You're the weapon.
Yeah,
very Palpatine-like. He's got that Emperor vibe. But anyway, they end up at this comm relay with this weirdo officer who's got a costuming error that is driving me right up the wall. But we can talk about it later. But he is showing off kind of that new uniform. And Peter, that uniform. It's got some shades of what you're wearing, which is the TNG dress uniform, but it's got kind of a flap over that kind of looks like the current Picard uniform. Hey, all I know is that I'm going to buy one.
It's kind of a All Good Things uniform mixed with this one.
Right.
What it looks
exactly.
like.
And they've gone to use the All Good Things badge with the gold background. So
Which
I have to get a couple of
badge.
I do.
I have it right over there. It's a great bit.
I know. So anyway, our crew gets on board. The station with the Denobulan science dude. His costumier, by the way, is he has one of the provisional badges from Voyager, like B'Elanna wore, so Lieutenant Junior grade. But then he also has the pips, and he's like a long. So it makes me wonder: is this because he's out there and nobody's checking up on him? He just can dress however he wants.
That seems to be the indication based on his hair and everything. So.
Yeah, right, exactly. He looks like he just rolled out. It's surprising he put the uniform on at all.
He's got a rumpled up uniform. His hair's all over the place. He's got a badge.
He's got wacky badge and all this different stuff. But anyway, so the station scans the ship. That triggers the weapon, and so the station flips out, and our crew's got to escape from the station because they're all over there. The station blows up, and then at the end of it, we're on our own. They're off on their own again.
Yeah, the leaves in an escape pod. Bye.
I know. I had to watch this and being like, "What happened to the guy?" And I'm like, "Leaves in an escape pod. What a scumbag!"
And then just make do random crap. It'd be funny.
Exactly, because he could order them around. But the second part of it is we have real Janeway on the Dauntless, her vessel, headed deeper into the Delta Quadrant. She watches the holodeck program, which was the Protostar's launching, where we can see Chakotay finally. Very excited about that. But they make their way all the way to the Diviner's planet. And at the end of it, they beam down the spacesuits. Check this out. Her Tellarite science officer, Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. I kid you not. Voyager Legacy, too, because he was in an episode of that show. I know. I couldn't have picked it out. I couldn't have picked it out in a million years.
Seinfeld to be able to do that. So.
Oh, my God. We're not even going to touch that. All right. So, Katie.
I am in the same boat, Peter. Don't worry.
I don't watch sitcoms.
I watch some sitcoms, just not that one.
That's what those crickets were that I heard. All right, Katie, I know you're not a huge fan of the lead character of the show.
He's getting better.
Yeah, what did this episode do for you, just kind of based on your trepidation of our lead?
I want to like it. I think that's my problem, is that I want to like it, but there's just, I don't know if it's the animation that really bugs me or what, because it just doesn't feel like the characters have weight. Like, it feels like a very sloppy rendering, I think would be my big critique. And this is coming from someone who, this should be my jam.
Right.
Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch,
Right.
My genre is kid shows that make you cry. Like, that is where I live happily. Right. And so I think that it feels kind of like those cheaper rendered shows that are made for little kids, where they're like, oh, they're not going to notice that, like, when Chakotay and Janeway hug, that they don't really touch.
Yeah, I noticed it too. They're like
everything's really stiff and
it's very
awkward.
like The Sims. It's like, hello,
yeah,
I am expressing human emotion.
It kind of reminds me of like a PS2 game, which is sad because there's a lot of really beautiful rendering. Like, the lighting on their suits, on their spacesuits when they go out, is beautifully done. Like, Zero looks amazing. And I really love Zero and Gwen. Like, Gwen, give me a spin-off crossover with her and Ahsoka just taking over the galaxies. I'd love to see that.
Oh my goodness.
But
depends on how fast that ship can fly.
But I just think that
time warp,
it feels like they're not treating it with the same brevity that other shows get treated with. And I don't know if it's just because, like, they don't have the resources to do so. So they're not getting the environments where it feels like these characters are not just models rendered in a prefabricated environment, but they actually, like, live and exist within that environment. But it does feel like it's kind of just like, oh, well, it's kids that are watching this. They're not going to notice. And a lot of times it's not kids that are watching it. It's Star Trek fans who grew up with these shows.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's... I will say, it's an obvious, it's a wider net to cast to get the kids who love, oh my God, I love Clone Wars. Oh my God, I love Star Wars, but my Star Wars is, the Clone Wars series, and my Star Wars is now Bad Batch, and my Star Wars is this thing or that thing.
Which are things that kids can definitely watch, but you're still pulling in that adult audience.
Right, exactly. So, so you're right. What's the middle ground? I don't know, Peter, what do you think?
About that on the episode. On that, I would tend to agree that some of the animation has some of that weightlessness issue. I think that we could potentially see a change in season 2 because they might get a little bit of feedback, or maybe they'll get the numbers and then they'll be like, oh, maybe we should take this a little bit more seriously.
Right.
Because I think you're right that, like, because Lower Decks, they take a lot of time rendering.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it's a different animation style, but the starships are 3D renders. They're not like 2D anything. Those are 3-dimensional renders. And so I think that if they start to get the numbers, then they can start to put some of the resources into rendering it a little bit differently. It's kind of like with some of the Marvel things that I've noticed, like some of the lighting and the meshing of layers doesn't work well. Like, the characters are modeled well and, like, they move well, but like the way that they interact with each other, and especially the lighting, gets a little weird.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always notice is lighting, because
right.
Probably from watching all the documentaries on how much time they spent working on
it's a ton.
lighting, right? It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Can't dig too deep in how the sausage is made. No, I totally understand. Okay. All right, so
the episode overall, I generally liked it.
Yeah,
I did too, and I was really excited to see, like, where they were going, where they were zeroing in. No pun intended on Zero and Gwen.
Got it.
So I am hoping, like, I genuinely am hoping that the animation gets better, because it was kind of just distracting. And again, I don't know if it's because I have a background in art and, like, rendering and animation and that kind of stuff, so it's, like, a little more finicky with it, but I definitely feel like it's going in the right direction as far as developing the characters.
Gotcha.
Did anyone like the Prometheus Medbay? Prometheus, the Ridley Scott film, because that's what that medbay looked like that they stuck Gwen in.
Oh, I have not. I did not realize that.
I don't know. I haven't seen that movie since it came out, so you got me there.
Well, all right. Well, it's there.
Yeah, I noticed the koala. You noticed the cool med bay.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed crossovers between all sorts of stuff. Like they had a Cerritos MSD online, and I found the Stargate. So,
oh my gosh, that is wild. Well, that concludes. I guess I didn't have a lot to say. I'm glad it's back. I'm excited to see Janeway again. I'm excited to see Chakotay again. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we've gotten some tags. We've got. The Outrageous Okana is coming back. We know that the Prometheus and the Protostar will meet, and that's going to be great. But yeah, it's a tee up. But yeah, this is the Star Trek we have to kind of carry us through the rest of the year, because this will wrap up in December, like right around Thanksgiving? No, Christmas? One of the two. Anyway, we've got 9 episodes left. 9 episodes, 9 weeks. So I don't like math. So so yeah, that'll be just around Christmas. So yeah, there we go. So well, cool. All right. Well, that concludes talking about new stuff, and it is time for Peter to leave us. Unfortunately, as we move forward into talking about Voyager. So Peter, where do people find you out there?
You can find me on the interwebs at Petrus Aquinas on most platforms. You can also find me here on 47, and you can find me on Roll and Review or over at ELH on YouTube, where I am in a role-playing game, Star Trek. I play a Xindi captain.
Well, look at him branching out and talking a little bit more about his stuff this week. I like it. Good deal. All right. Well, Peter, thank you very much. We will catch you for the next episode. We're going to take a brief pause from station identification, which I always say, but I don't, because all I do is edit the 2 segments together. But just hold your breath, and we'll be right back. And we're back. That didn't take long, thankfully. But yeah, it's just Katie and me. We're getting back into talking about Star Trek Voyager. We have another 6 episodes to discuss. And I think we're now finally into I'm just giving a glimpse here, what is truly season 2, because, we talked about last week how some episodes were holdovers and whatever it is, but now we're into the crux of season 2, getting into, we're actually right around this time. Because it was funny because this first episode has kind of a Halloweenish vibe with hallucinations and all this different stuff. And but anyway, I'll go first. Episode 8 of the season was called "Persistence of Vision," directed by James L. Conway and written by Jerry Taylor, who helped co-create the series, from October of 1995. The crew experiences hallucinations brought on by an alien that puts them into a trance-like state. So I remember, and you'll have no recollection of this, Katie, but because this was a network show and it was owned by Viacom, which also owns MTV, back in my day when MTV played videos.
Hey, I remember MTV and when it played videos. I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I remember it. Oh,
okay. Well, that's step one of it. There was, and I've watched this episode over the years, and I've never caught the cameo, but I think it's pretty obvious where it would be at. But there was an MTV VJ called Kennedy. She was a tall, skinny girl with glasses and stringy hair. She was like a tall Lisa Loeb, if you know who Lisa Loeb is. Who was a girl with glasses and long black hair. Anyway, Kennedy from MTV was apparently, I think, one of the crewmen in engineering that you see. So anyway, we run into a race that clearly does not really want Voyager to be going through their territory anyway, in what I consider to be a pretty unremarkable episode. I don't know, Katie, what were your thoughts?
I liked the episode as far as it building out Cass and the Doctor, because Cass is able to kind of distinguish what's going on. It's kind of, that lucid dreaming state where she acknowledges that she is hallucinating a lot of the times, and they really, really have to fight her on that. And it was a great way to show her growing telepathic abilities, and also, bonding with her and the Doctor, and what a beautiful relationship they end up having. So overall, I thought it was a really good way to build out kind of do character development without being like exposition heavy of like, this is the characters and this is what their thoughts and feelings are, because you had their desires coming forth with these hallucinations. So, I mean, like, I always think the Torres Chicote line is a little weird.
Yeah.
Where I feel like they can never really figure out who they want to hook up, because it's like there's sexual tension between Kes and Tom, there's sexual tension between Torres and Chicote, and then Chicote and Janeway, and then Tom and Torres. And I'm like,
you just think at some point it's just going to break down and just everybody's going to be getting down.
Right. And then kind of the Doctor and Kes. And I'm like, okay, everybody just stop and go take a cold shower, please.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Oh, there you go. There's an episode named Cold Showers in Space.
Cold sonic showers.
Cold sonic showers. Yeah, because we didn't get an episode name out of the first part of the show. So that's pretty good. Yeah, you know what? I agree with all those things. I was, majorly creeped out by the Chicote Torres vibe.
Yeah.
Because their relationship becomes much more father-daughter as the series goes on. Because even in the later season episode, when all of our crew, they're actually when they're the duplicates, they get duplicated on the Demon Planet, then they fly off. In that alternate ship, Paris and Torres get married earlier on, and Chakotay gives her away. So I'm like, well, I'm glad. Hopefully, they both have put it out of her mind that she really wants to bone him. So that's good.
And that's kind of like I've gone forward because I've wanted to watch more episodes, but I have to watch these so close to when we record, so I don't forget them.
I do a lot because a lot.
Yeah. How are you doing?
And a lot of my work travel, I'm in hotels overnight.
Yes.
I'll travel with Roku, so I plug it in, and I'll just grab random episodes. But I've been watching these again and again and again for 30 something years. Yeah.
I've been watching like the third season, and there's the episode where Torres starts getting like psychically connected to that race where she has those reoccurring dreams of like her other lover. And she actually goes to Chakotay and being like, hey, I'm having these kind of sexy dreams. And he's like teasing her about him in a very much like a fatherly or like older brother sort of way. Right. Where it's a very much a platonic kind of relate. And I'm like, if you were like into him, that would be the last thing you want to talk about is like, hey, I'm having sexy dreams about another dude.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk to you about it. Right.
It felt very weird to me, like that part.
Yeah, so maybe that's what kind of squishes the episode for me. We also get the first version of Paris's dad, actor Warren Munson, who is replaced by a great actor whose name is going to absolutely escape me, later in season 6 when they finally make contact with the Alpha Quadrant. It's actor, oh my God, he's in so much stuff. The guy who becomes Tom Paris's dad, we see him time and again. So Admiral Owen Paris. So add me at Twitter and remind me because otherwise I'll just go ahead and look it up. But anyway, moving on, Katie, I know that we're going to spend some time on this one, and I feel like I'm not going to have much to say about it. So this is going to be all yours. So go.
So again, if someone doesn't want to hear me go on a rant, you can just skip forward like 10, 15 minutes while we'll talk about Cold Fire. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about tattoos. Tattoo. That's what it's called. And this is just one. And this is where Chakotay encounters non-humans who have the same tattoo on their foreheads as he does. And what the fuck? Just so many what the fucks. I want you to know that while I was watching this episode, I messaged Charlie and I was like, Charlie, I have to warn you, I'm taking notes. I am writing a goddamn essay because I have so many thoughts about this episode.
Okay. Slow down. New name of the episode, the WTF Meter.
So first, I know that I have prefaced with saying that I wasn't going to rant about Chakotay's character after we initially talked about the problems of, the fact that they never really established what Indigenous American tribe he was from, or like the kind of loosey-goosey way that they play with him, and also the fact that Highwater, their, Native American consultant, was a hack, but Highwater is not an excuse at this one. Like,
see, and I don't know anything about you. You dug deeper than I did. I never knew.
Well, so they
had a real consultant who
had a supposed consultant who I think says he claimed he was from, I believe, the Chippewa or Cherokee Nation. Forgive me if I'm getting that wrong, but it turned out that he did not have any roots to any of those tribes. And and basically was just working as a consultant in Hollywood and on several different series. And even at this point in time, he had been known to not like that his credentials were not valid, but people were still using him. So he was lucky that it was not in the age of the internet where that information could have been put out further. But so now the actor who plays Chakotay,
Robert Beltran.
Yeah. I was a little impressed because I'm like, oh, I know that he is Mexican American. So I'm like, cool, they're actually putting him in Central America. That would make sense as far as like the actor's heritage go, that he, they're putting him more Central American, maybe Guatemalan or, El Salvador, where you would have Mayan ancestry. Cool. That sounds good. Awesome.
Right. But
then you've got people coming with very like Hollywood style, like feathers and like Native American, representation, where I'm like, so what are they doing in Central America? Who is the rubber tree tribe? What is this tribe they keep talking about with the rubber trees?
Right.
So then they're talking about the sky gods or the sky spirits. So I'm like, would you please just pick a lane? Like there is so much rich heritage, like you've got the Quetzalcoatl and all of these amazing gods and lore of the Mayan ancestry, which the Mayans were prevalent in that area as far as like ancient indigenous culture. So why would you not just take from that? Like, again, why are you going off of Native American ancestry when you're not even in the United States at this point?
You don't even want to say off the reservation because even that's too loaded.
Right, exactly. Like, this is not even this. You're in a completely different section, which was just so. It was so Hollywood whitewashing. It was painful to watch.
My gosh.
And then, so Charlie, I have a question for you.
Okay, I'll do my best
because these. These guys, because he finally meets the sky spirits, which are these ashen, pale-skinned, blue-eyed motherfuckers.
I mean, if you're going to go for broke, go with your ashen,
down
pale, blue-eyed.
To say that 4,500 years ago, they discovered a race with no culture and no spoken language and nothing to speak of, but they respected the land. So they didn't have culture, but they also respected the land. So by Western standards, they didn't have culture.
Wouldn't that be their culture then, respecting the land?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's what I was like. I'm sorry, you did not just what? Okay. So
you not what? Okay. Huh? Where?
So then they give them culture. So I'm curious, 4,500 years ago, from that time point, because this is Star Trek time, wouldn't that put them in like the mid 1600s?
Yeah, this is set in 2372. So dial it back to 1972, less another 500 years. Did I do that math right? 4,000. So wouldn't it be, and so another 500 years backwards? So yeah, 1600s.
Yeah, it'd be like the mid 1600s that they're saying that they discovered this race.
It's Plymouth Rock, Yeah. So, it's bad math. It is bad Star Trek math.
Because even at that point, they're saying if they were going off of 1994 standards, you're still looking at like 2000 BC. Which would be Egyptians, Mayan culture, like those cultures. The Mayans had formed agriculture at that point.
Yeah, well, the Mayan culture had roads and I remember from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, they had roads and aqueducts and technology.
There was tons of stuff there. And they're showing them at this like pre-Inuit culture that they're interacting with. I mean, that's
exactly what they showed. They showed Inuit guy in the snow.
So at this point, you're saying that they found this race. That this race then had time to go down and settle in Central America.
It's not a short trip if they
which is not a short trip. All in
Alaska, the Siberian bridge, land bridge or whatever.
This was, aliens built the pyramids because brown people wouldn't have been competent to do it. Type of level of just ignorance, to my point.
Okay. And it's interesting. I listen to a great show, and these guys are guys who I interact with on social media. Norman Lau and John Champion do a great show called Mission Log on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. And I probably have mentioned this before. They break down episodes just like this one where they will do a short synopsis and then they'll spend the rest of the show. And it's about an hour like our show is. They'll spend the rest of the show addressing how it holds up in modern lore. And they did this episode just a few weeks ago. Katie, I would encourage you to go back.
Oh, I definitely want to watch that or listen to that.
Listen to that segment. It's probably from like maybe a month ago. So I would definitely go check it out because they they didn't ramble in quite the fashion that you did, but you'll like how these guys represent. So, all right. Any further thoughts? If you were to, is this your like, if you were going to do an 0 to 10, this would be like a negative 47 on.
This is sitting on season 2, episode 1 of TNG territory for me.
Oh,
this is
the child.
Yes,
Troy and her baby. Okay.
That is where this episode is. Just because they should have known better in 1995 or 1995, they should have known better.
Right, to actually do some math. So basically, Sky Spirit aliens don't do math. That is the big takeaway.
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. Well, yeah. I don't. You know what? I don't have anything else to contribute because how do you even follow that up? This was obviously a character building attempt on Chakotay's part, but everything else around it really is a
yeah. And from my understanding, the episode kind of got passed around quite a few times. Like as I was reading into it to try to figure out like who wrote it and why they wrote it, it seemed like it was one of these like throw at the wall a few different times to see if it stuck. And so it seems like it just got kind of muddled in the meantime. And it's just really sad.
The same methodology they held on to for Picard season 2. Throwing shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And from my understanding, Chakotay was created with the same kind of idea of Uhura, where Uhura became a great representation and a great pillar for the Black American community. Right. And they were like, cool, we'll create this character who can have that same kind of effect for the indigenous community. And the problem is that they just kind of created a character and a stereotype rather than digging in and allowing the character to breathe like they did with Uhura.
Right. Exactly. Well, feels like a good time to move on.
Yes, I am done. All right. Okay. Welcome back, everybody who decided to skip the first 10 minutes.
I would bother to research and put time codes in it, but that was too good. I think everybody should hear it. Episode 10 of the season is called Cold Fire. Came out on November 13 in 1995, directed by Cliff Bold, stalwart to the series. Story by Anthony Williams and teleplay by Brandon Braga, who again is a real bulwark in Star Trek writing. And Ocampa helps Kes with her mental abilities as the crew encounter a being who appears to be the caretaker's female counterpart. I'm wondering if there's some male-female stereotypes that might be thrown into this. Caretaker, reasonable and well-balanced. The female caretaker, better not. I'm not even. You know what? I'm not even gonna. I don't want to.
What you mean when she shows up as an unstable child and that's how she chooses to represent herself?
Temper tantrum. Yeah, what all the racist old white men say. This is why we can't have a woman president. Oh my God. This episode actually guest starred Gary Graham, who was in the television version of the movie Alien Nation in the early 1990s, which I liked very much. But he was also Ambassador Saval on Enterprise, who is a regular recurring character and actor I like very much. He was the Ocampa from this Ocampa space station, who you get a bad vibe from him, I think, right from the jump. He's kind of an arrogant dickwad. You don't really like
I feel kind of bad for the actor because I feel like every time I've seen him anything, he just kind of gives a skeevy vibe, and I don't know if that's just who he is as a person, but I feel kind of bad.
Yeah, because at least with Soval, he gets a redemption arc because he comes on the show and like all the Vulcans in the show, he's really arrogant and like, humanity doesn't have the and by the end you get he kind of comes around and he's the one who takes down the Vulcan High Command, in season 4, and because they're corrupt, and so you're right. But in this, he's a total one-note bad guy. He doesn't really care about Kes, but he is trying to kind of seduce her away from Voyager. But he's also. Yeah.
Like he's 14, she's 3.
Right, not even. She's 2.
Oh yeah, at this point she's 2.
Yeah, but I mean, this guy's like, well, we have longer lifespans because I'm 14 and my dad lived to be 20. Ocampas are supposed to live to be 9, I think. The
oldest was 9 as far as Kes knew.
this is essentially the high school, science teacher trying to seduce the, 16-year-old high school junior who's like, oh, and not to her part because she tends to keep her head about her shoulders. And eventually she susses it out. But yeah, they go for a real horror movie vibe closer to the end here. And it's kind of, nobody gets killed either. So it's not like she comes on and she's, because they're obviously real careful about killing people off because it just is going to, reduce the staff on the ship. So it's not like they're.
Yeah.
Suspiria shows up, takes the form of a creepy little girl from a horror movie. I think she takes Torres and a couple of other people, and she gives
Torres and
is it Tuvok or somebody else?
Tuvok, yeah, it's Torres and Tuvok are up and they're like suspended from the ceiling. Yeah,
she's got a bloody nose, so she's dripping blood. You're like, ooh, but it's not scary, and it's just. You're right. The trope of the scary little girl. It's like it's every bad horror movie you can think of,
right?
And yeah, it's just poor. Yeah, and she speaks with the scary voice of the evil nun or whatever.
Right. Well, it's like this old crone voice.
And she's like, "Oh, you!" Exactly. So, yeah, I consider this to this is a furtherance, I think, at least of Cass, of her, the main through line of her character.
Yeah.
Development of her psychic abilities and her growth as a character, which is what we hope for any character on the show. But overall, very clunky, very tropey. Yeah.
And I did enjoy like the Ocampa and Cass angle. I thought that was really, really great. The representation of the caretaker was a little bit sloppy, and I would have liked to see more with that. But again, and I've been very vocal. Cass is my favorite character on the crew so far. And so I really like seeing her develop. And again, the way that they are able to manage keeping her innocence and optimism while also not negating her strength and intelligence as a person is really, really great. And I feel like that played through on this episode.
Totally. Yeah, no, I like that part of it. But yeah, overall, the rest of it just really didn't shake out. And yeah, it was kind of the monster in the closet. And then at the end of it, you got the horror movie ending. Yeah. So to speak.
Yeah.
So, all right. So moving on, we have, it's Kazon episode. Yay. It's the Klingons that don't wash their hair, the Kazon. And you can never understand why. I mean, the whole premise of the episode is just kind of wonky. But anyway, this one's yours. Go ahead.
All right. Kazon Nistrom board Voyager and steal a transport module in an attempt to unite the Kazon sex. And it's called Maneuver. It was written by David Levinson and directed by Kenneth Biller and aired November 20th, 1995.
Yes. And both those guys are pretty stalwarts of the series. So it's set up to be something great, but if it's something great, that's kind of up to you if you really like it.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought this episode was fun in a way because it does bring Seska back, where you start to see like Seska as a power to be reckoned with. She's an incredibly strategic military mind. I mean, she is Cardassian, so that is to be kind of expected. Those guys are, strategical fascists. Obviously, they know how to fight, but she does have this weird obsession with Chakotay, which is kind of bordering on crazy ex-girlfriend territory.
He's a vegetarian, but she would have boiled his bunny otherwise,
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I do like seeing, I guess, again, it is one of those things that I like about Voyager, where they don't just stick with, everything being about the captain, where you have it where this is a story that is about Chakotay and about his past and dealing with his Maquis heritage, or his Maquis past, and then also the strife that brings with Janeway. So it really is a great way for them to, again, build character bonding with those two characters. And it's one of the things I've noticed where even though like they try to have kind of some through lines with the story and as the character develops more than kind of the monster of the week type of stuff that you see with the other shows in Star Trek. And even when they're really clunky, like especially later in the series, it'll just be like, oh yeah, now it's 10 months later and never mind. And you're like, wait, but what just like there were like two people floating in space. What the hell just happened? Why did you leave? They do a really great job of developing the characters and sticking with that kind of development as they go forward.
Yeah. The Kazon in general, a couple of things in this episode that I always find the Kazon weird because I'm like, they, have space technology. I think I mentioned before. They have all the stuff necessary for normal space travel that you see in Star Trek. They've got ships with warp speed. They've got directed energy weapons. They have crab plating and air recyclers and all this different stuff. But they can't figure out transporters and replicators.
Well, I think because we're not talking about it this week, but I think in our next session, we're talking about the one where they kind of go into the backstory of the Kazon and why that is.
Yeah.
It kind of gets answered.
Yeah, the Trabe and you're right, because all their stuff is reclaimed technology. But the other thing, and this was pointed out on, and again, I'll reference Mission Log.
We need to just get those guys on our show. Apparently,
I have approached them and they have not really responded. But I like their stuff. How and why is Seska able to restore her Cardassian appearance with no medical technology? Answer me that one.
I would imagine that she had the medical technology with her,
but it seems like that would no, when she escaped Voyager, she was in a hospital gown. So what did she have did she trade things? Did she steal things and trade things off?
Or was it something where she just was, because I know that they've done like surgery altering stuff. Maybe it was something where it's like chemicals. So when she stopped taking the chemicals, it like reverted her back.
Cardassian hormone therapy? Possibly. Yes.
That kind of altering stuff, or maybe, I don't know, but that is a very good point.
So anyway, Chakotay and Tuvok are kind of my two favorite Voyager characters. So this was a Chakotay episode. And you're right. I really liked when he and Janeway finally faced off at the end, and then you saw the sum of, Torres goes to Janeway and pleads for, I know he ran off and he's a very private person, but he's very deeply hurt by the fact that he screwed up is making this whole situation happen.
Right.
And then for him to, and at the end she says, well, you make my job very difficult by being the first officer and not following the rules. He says, I put you on report in case that means anything to anybody. And he says, it means something to me. It means that I let you down, which I think reflects the depths of his character. He's very Starfleet at his core. That is a Starfleet principle. Stand by your word. This uniform stands for something. And then, and he cares for her. She cares for him. And it's the beginning of the emotional complexity for all the JC shippers out there. So ship on. This was a good episode for that. So I liked it, but the whole the Kazon just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it was no big shakes when we didn't have Kazon anymore. It was totally fine.
Yeah, it really was.
Oh my gosh! All right, so moving on. Episode 12 is Resistance, directed by Winrich Colby, who again, big part of the show. Started by Michael Jan Freeman, who is he is a Star Trek novel author and has been for 30-something years. And I follow him on Facebook, so I get to see his postings from time to time. And Kevin J. Ryan, no idea who he is. Teleplay is by Lisa Klink, who was one of the main story writers of Voyager. And I think this may have been at the beginning of her Voyager career because she came in after the show had already been going. From November of 1995, a mission to acquire tellurium, which is a fuel line, or it's something. It's
one of the many MacGuffins. One
of the many tech MacGuffins that makes the engine run. Goes wrong, shocker, causing Tuvok and B'Elanna to be captured and believed to be with the Resistance on this planet. I believe the race is the Mokra. And then for Janeway to be cared for by this kind of crazy old dude who's played by Broadway superstar Joel Grey. I don't know if you have any familiarity with him.
I do not, but he does a fantastic job with his character.
And it's funny because I remember watching this episode when it was first on, and who was my roommate at the time? Todd Oxtra. What does Todd Oxtra like to do? Make fun of everything. So all he did the entire time we watched this was making fun of Joel Grey because he knew who Joel Grey was. I had no idea, but I think Joel Grey he was in Cabaret with Liza. I think that was his big early claim to fame, but I'm not.
He is best known for portraying the Master of Ceremonies in the musical Cabaret on Broadway.
There you go. Exactly. So he is funny because, again, here's the third reference, guys. You're going to start paying me. On Mission Log, they just did this one, and they mentioned that at age 90, he's still acting, which is awesome. So, or at least he's still alive.
He's got a Patrick Stewart level of.
Yes.
of acting chops there.
Of his wife or his partner kicking him out of the house and say, "Go do something, quit bugging me." So yeah, cool episode. I will admit that I don't think I'd watched this one. Well, again, I probably told you that in the time that April and I have been together, which is almost a decade, we managed to get through all of the televised Star Treks. And as I mentioned on a previous episode, the one thing we didn't watch was Star Trek V, which she watched for the first time just a couple of weeks ago. So I know we watched this one within the last, decade, but I don't think it's one that I've seen more than a couple of times. And again, I'm like, I've watched all these episodes all this different times. This whole season 2 of Voyager, I think, is one that I've not really dug into. So I was not really familiar with kind of what happened or just really how great Joel Grey's portrayal was. But you're right, you nailed it on the head. He's a force to be reckoned with.
And
so go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I really honestly, the Tuvok B'Elanna storyline kind of took a sidestep for me. It was much more about Janeway and his character Kayla. Yeah. I believe his character's name was. Right. Yeah, Joel Grey's character Kayla, because it's very clear that he has late stage dementias. He believes that Janeway is his daughter, who has passed. You find out at the end, and he's looking for his wife, who he thinks has been captured by the Resistance, and you find out was captured because she was waiting for him to help her with something. And so he's just got a lot of guilt and a lot of strain. And Janeway is trying to navigate the situation. And, she does it with the firm, gentle hand that you see Janeway use a lot, which is, she's never cruel to him and being like, what the fuck are you talking about? Obviously, I'm not your daughter. But she's gently trying to correct him, be like, okay, well, yeah. He gives her a necklace and she's like, I don't think you should do this, and all of this kind of stuff as he's trying to navigate this. And, it comes to light all of the things that he has done and how he really blames himself. And at the end, he kind of tries to redeem himself by saving Janeway and subsequently dying in the process. And she kind of gives in to his delusion by telling him that she forgives him.
Right.
And that mother forgives you, and everything's going to be okay, because she just can't stand watching him suffer anymore, which was very, very heartbreaking and very, very, moving. Both their performances were very amazing. And, I do think that Tuvok and B'Elanna, they had some great moments of, again, character growth. They're taking these moments to really build on the relationships and form a fully dynamic cast, which is really, really great, because you'll be like, okay, well, who hasn't been paired up yet? Who hasn't had their moments to really bond and grow together and gain some empathy between each other? And they're like, oh, Tuvok and B'Elanna, let's have them get captured. And then she has to try to deal with watching him get tortured and being like, I thought Vulcans didn't feel pain. And he's like, oh, no, we do.
Yeah,
but, we're just real stoic about it.
we're just not really punks about it. Yeah, you're right. You have two characters that couldn't be any more diametrically different, because Tuvok is a over 100-year-old, stoic Vulcan dedicated to Starfleet principles and stuff. And as you learn about it in his past, he had a whole separate Starfleet career that was in the time of TOS. And he left Starfleet because he really couldn't reconcile how he wanted to live his life versus Starfleet. And then he ended up coming back to it. And then when he meets Janeway, which is just a few years prior to the series, he's with her for life. And he's Starfleet. And then you got
Wookiee life debts for everyone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is the Chewbacca to Janeway's Han Solo. I never really thought about it that way, but you kind of really locked it in, as opposed to B'Elanna, who she's a misunderstood kid. She's got daddy issues. She never really landed anywhere, so she joined the Maquis just because it's hate, and then she ends up in the situation that she's fighting, but Janeway takes her in and moms her and brings her. Well,
and she did try Starfleet, but it was very much kind of a Mariner situation to the extreme of I am, she both rejects but also embraces her Klingon, where she'll use it as an excuse if something doesn't go right, but she also hates it.
Right, exactly. So yeah, two so diametrically different characters finding a way to share this moment. You're right. That gives me that's a good perspective that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of in that way. So, respect. I like it. Well, cool. All right. Well, let's move on to the last episode we're going to talk about, which is Shades of Badgie and Shades of the Agamus and of the Admiral Buenamigo.
Yes.
Robot kill everyone. All right, it's yours. Go for it.
All right, we've got Prototype, which was written by Jonathan Frakes and directed by Nicholas Correa.
Other way around.
Directed by Jonathan Frakes and written by Nicholas Correa. Aired January 15th of 96. And we have the crew finds and reactivates a robot's body, which was adrift in space only to find themselves in the middle of a war when B'Elanna is abducted.
Oh, she's such a dum-dum. It was her fault. Yeah, but it was cool. This is one, I swear it's the last time I'm going to mention Mission Log. They just did it. And it's really fun.
I mean, I think you're 5 for 5 at this point. So.
Oh, my God. I know. I really got to dial it back, getting all this free press. But it's a great one. You've got, the perspective of just bouncing along in space. And then here comes Voyager. Then you see the transporter effect. And you're still seeing it from the perspective of we don't know what. Because it's got the little blip blaps going by, and
everything's black and white.
And Lana's talking, and Tuvok's over her shoulder. Jane was with the, and she's, she could see she's working, and then he turns in the mirror. You can see that he is what I think is the most low budget robot I feel like I've ever seen.
Absolutely. My favorite part is when it moves, and you can very clearly see that it's just a rubber mask.
Oh my God, it's so bad. But yeah, this is a story that I think has a great concept, but 1000% suffers from a weekly TV budget because, obviously the visual effects are up to par because these Kravik units, which is the name of the robot species, it's exactly like Battlestar Galactica. And Katie, jog my memory. Is that a show you've watched the reimagined version of it?
Yes, I have.
Absolutely adore it. So it's the exact same thing. You had assuming a humanoid species of some kind, create robots to make their lives easier, the Cylons, and those big surprise, as usual, those robots rise up and kill them off, though that's not really revealed to the end, but it's super obvious to everybody. But as the robot culture grows, or no, they didn't really grow because the whole crux of the plotline is they couldn't reproduce, but there ended up being two factions. One had the beige colored.
One was gold. One was silver.
Right, which is exactly from Battlestar Galactica. She had silver Cylons, but they couldn't reproduce. And so when B'Elanna figured out that she could potentially build another one of these, they abduct her and they barely get her back. And then it's revealed at the end, which is a surprise to no one who's ever watched any science fiction, that this was a robot species that killed off. Their masters, as it were. Are we bummed out that we never saw these guys again? I liked the concept, but it was just so poorly, just the way the suits, because they're wearing
it was not well done.
Like rubbery heads. And
I think it was a good idea. And again, going back to kind of what we've been talking about as far as that reoccurring theme of building character development. So it was a great way to have mutual respect and understanding and empathy brought between Torres and Janeway, because at the end, Torres follows Janeway's instructions the entire time because, she asks, can I try to reactivate? And Janeway's like, yeah, sure. Why not? She does. And then the guy's like, hey, you're a builder. I need you to help me build more prototypes. She comes to Janeway and says, hey, he wants me to help. And Janeway and her have a very philosophical discussion about if this is okay, does this follow Prime Directive? What's going on? And Janeway ultimately says, no, we can't do that. And so Torres goes, that sucks, but okay, you're the captain. I get it.
Right.
And so she goes back to the robot, says, no, I can't help you. He says, cool, I'm going to abduct you.
Cool, I'm going to abduct you.
And then puts her basically a gun to Voyager's head and says, I'm either going to destroy everything and your entire crew, or you're going to help me build this prototype.
Right.
So, of course, Torres does, because she's looking out for her crew.
Right,
and,
right. Big growth for her. It's big growth for her that when she was told no, she didn't I'm going to find a way to do it anyway. Because there's plenty of moments with all of the characters. I mean, at some point or another, every one of the characters gets an ultimatum from Janeway, and they're like, I think I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, literally, 3 episodes ago, Chakotay.
Right, but later on, in season 1, it was Tuvok with the projector technology. He was going to, trade away, or Harry Kim when he falls in love with a weird alien girl and she gives him.
When is he not falling in love with a weird alien girl or a hologram or something?
Tom Paris actually gets busted in rank for doing it. He becomes an ensign. He gets marinered. So, and it's funny in that episode you say mariner, and it has to do with a planet that's a water world. Mariner.
This is fair. But no, I think then at the end where Torres is expecting a reprimand, because that's normally what would happen when she was put in these situations, you can tell she's ready to kind of be like, I did, a wrong thing. I made a mistake. And Janeway supports her and, does, again, that kind of loving mom firm thing of really validating her and saying, hey, you were looking out for this crew. You did what you had to do, and I respect you for that, and I admire you, and you're an incredible technician, you're an incredible engineer, and that's why I put you here. And right. I would have done the exact same thing in your shoes. And it was really, really validating for Torres. And again, great character growth for the both of them to build that relationship together. So even though we didn't see them again and the costuming was really, really bad,
right.
and I don't know if there would have really been a great way for them to continue the story. It was a really good story to use to build those characters.
I mean, and that's what overall, if you look at Voyager overall, the benefit of is that with them traveling in a semi-straight line to leave where they are to get closer to home, is that you're always going to have new characters and new conflicts.
Yeah. And nothing ever, it doesn't ever really make, or it's never really out of place for them to just randomly fall upon something, because they're like, well, obviously, because they're in a new part of space now.
Right. And then we get to leave behind, the Kazon or the Vidian, whatever, that's all well and good. Well, cool. All right. Well, my goodness, this is, I'm looking at the time, this is the longest episode we've done so far. So I'm pretty excited about that because we got into some real meat. I'm finding I'm having a much bigger appreciation for Voyager than I think I ever did, even though I've always enjoyed the series. I think having your perspective on the nuances between the characters has been beneficial to me. So
well, thank you.
Well, thank you. Got it. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to give an extra special plug before we sign off for the fact that here in Michigan, and again, Peter and Katie and myself are all part of the USS Grant Petoskey, a chapter of the International Star Trek Fan Club based here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have a great big show coming up, the Grand Rapids Comic-Con, November 11th through 13th. We're in 2022 if you're listening in the future. But if you're listening right now, we've always had a great presence at the show. But the really big kickoff is that Saturday night. I'm talking about November 12th, 7 p.m. We are having our first annual meeting where it's going to be a series of awards and celebration of the chapter and a great silent auction for charity to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Michigan. So if you are in Michigan, please consider coming. Obviously, it's with paid admission to the show, but it's a very affordable show to attend, and you'll be glad that you did. So we really do hope to see you at the meeting. If you want more information, please contact us through social media channels. We'll answer any questions you have. So with my plug, Katie, where do people find you out there on the internets?
You can find me on Twitter at QTGeek. That is Q_T Geek. And then at Instagram on Quintessential Geek.
Excellent. And you can find me on just about all socials at the C3, spell it out. As I was already talking about the USS Grant Petoskey, which I run with my lovely wife, April. And you can also find me filling up the content over at the Secret Friends Unite Facebook group. Friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trekking.
And wherever you go boldly.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.